Hello everyone! The War of the Ancients ended with the Well of Eternity imploding, the land sundered apart, and the machines on Khaz'goroth were broken. Magni's sacrifice, passing on Azeroth's gifts, and as the Titan machines back online, new Irvin are pumped out of the machines, and their archive, where they're supposed to store the memories from the memory gems, it's operational once more.
I have validated a destination for the teleporter. Activate it when you are ready, champion.
It works! Oh, I hope it's more books or gems. Let's go. It's a Titan vault. And it's just like the Chamber of Heart.
The animation of going down there has us grab the heart of Azeroth, a relic given to us by Azeroth itself during the expansion battle for Azeroth, which we used to fix the Chamber of the Hearts. We gathered Azerites, we gathered powers, we released the old god N'Zoth from its prison, and in the end, laser beamed N'Zoth into oblivion. The old gods were imprisoned, because once upon a time, they ruled the planet of Azeroth, and they wanted to corrupt that world soul inside of the planet. The days of the Black Empire, they call it. But the Titans, they would find the planet, wage war with the old gods. Now the Titans, they were so powerful that they had to create servants to prevent doing too much damage to the world itself. They created Titanforged and empowered the so-called Keepers. The members of the Pantheon imbued a number of their servants with their specific likenesses and powers to lead the rest of the Titanforged. These empowered beings were called the Keepers. Though they would develop their own personalities in time, they would forever after bear the mark and abilities of their makers. Aman'thul gave to some of his vast abilities the High Keeper Ra and Keeper Odin. Khaz'goroth bestowed his mastery over the earth and forging the Keeper Arcadus. Goblin granted Keeper Thorim and Hodir dominion over the storms and skies. Eonar gave Keeper Freya command over Azeroth's flora and fauna. Norgannon lent a portion of his intellect and mastery of magic to Keepers Loken and Mimiron. Lastly, Ahn'Qiraj imparted his strength and courage to Keeper Tyr, who became the greatest warrior of the Titanforged. With the war won and the old gods imprisoned, they would go on to bring order to Azeroth, place Titan machinery, bandage any damage done, cultivate rivers and the mountains. All that so that the world soul inside would have a chance at one day waking up and joining the Pantheon as one of the Titans. That's the history that we've been told. But they do seem to be, asking some questions if the history that we've been told, if that is actually true.
What have the Titans actually been doing since the dawn of civilization? What is the real purpose of all of their cute little installations slammed into the side of the planet? Do we know everything we need to know about their real intentions for our world?
The Vault of Memory looks like the Chamber of Hearts, both connected to Keeper Arcadus. Arcadus was empowered by the Titan Khaz'goroth with mastery over the earth and forging, which is why these chambers are crafted by his hands and they feature similar designs. It was through Arcadus that Neltharion was empowered from a proto-dragon into an aspect. You might know him better as Deathwing. And when the Irvin of Khaz'goroth speak of the Keeper, they speak of Arcadus, but we've also seen the influence of other Keepers. Freya or Ra, for example, they've also visited the islands. It is indeed the same Arcadus that we fought and knocked out in Uldaman, but that is a whole different story on its own. What is important to know is that we could possibly access these archives and messages left behind if we get this machinery up and running.
There we go. Batteries in and supplying power. Let's see what this thing knows. Ugh, blast it all to the nether.
What's the problem, Dagran?
All these discs are cracked or broken. We'll need more disc fragments if we're to get anything useful out of this machine.
I suppose that's where our friend comes in.
We gather fragments throughout Khaz'goroth, and then return to get a very interesting history lesson.
The great Titan Khaz'goroth, who granted me the gift of the Forge, has relayed information from the Pantheon about our purpose. To create order from the chaos of the cosmos, the Titans search the great dark beyond for the prime world soul. This world soul, the most powerful in existence, They would guide to become the greatest Titan of all. In time, they came to sense a mighty presence within the world called Azeroth. The Pantheon made their way to the nascent world soul, hoping that their search was at an end.
Amazing. It's as though Keeper Arcadus was delivering the word of the great Khaz'goroth himself. These logs must be the architect's personal records of everything. I wonder how many more we can recover.
I know of Arcadus from my studies in Khaz'Modan. But this world soul he speaks of? Here on Azeroth? Do you think that's what Granda Magni was hearing all those years when he was a speaker?
I am not sure what significance this might have for my people, or my purpose. But I have faith in the Titan's plan for us.
It's almost the same as the history that we've known, but also some minor interesting details that have changed. We've been told so far that Aman'thul and the rest of the Titanic Pantheon, they've gone across the universe, the Great Dark Beyond, which is a term for Warcraft space, to find more of their slumbering kin and help them mature and wake up. The infection of the old gods, that was due to the Void Lords being jealous of the powers of the Titans, and they really wanted to corrupt one of them. Since a mature Titan proved impossible to get the tentacles in, they set their sights on the still slumbering ones. They manifested the old gods into the physical universe, and randomly had them infect planets because, like the Titans, the Void Lords had no idea which worlds had a slumbering Titan soul inside, and in the case of Azeroth, they absolutely struck gold. The idea of a corrupted Titan put such fear into Sargeras, champion of the Pantheon, because he realized that if the plans of the Void Lords would go through, then the Void would simply devour all until nothing was left. In his mind, scouring the universe of its corruption, it was the better option than letting this corruption fester. Life had taken root before. Perhaps if he would purge this entire universe, it would do so. And so he would form his burning legion, strike down his fellow Pantheon, and become a menace for a really long time.
Brother, your crusade is over!
On the other side, there were the other Titans, who could not dream of destroying precious world souls, as they were so rare to find, and they decided that imprisonment of the old gods, in the case of Azeroth, giving the planet a chance to grow, that was a way better way to go. Cleanse the infection instead of destroying her. She's also already been described as potentially the most powerful of them all, even more powerful than Sargeras himself. So the message Arcadus tells us could be interpreted as repeating the same story, but using some minor different terms. But we can also take those minor differences and use them to explain the Titans a little bit differently. Now please do keep in mind, we are talking about speculation here. Nothing is set in stone until the story is told.
To create order from the chaos of the cosmos, the Titans searched the great dark beyond for the Prime World Soul.
Prime World Soul is a new way of describing that slumbering spirit inside. They did a similar thing with the Naru in Legion, where Zera was given the term Prime Naru, one of the first to be forged during the great ordering of the cosmos. Does that make Azeroth also one of the first? Is she the first? Is she the origin point of the Warcraft universe? Perhaps the seventh? While editing, I realized that I don't really explain what I mean here, so let me get on that. The origin of the Warcraft universe was once upon a time not clearly defined, and there were those who thought that it was created by a single entity, and those that believed it originated from a big old cosmic explosion. We then got the Warcraft Chronicles, which clarifies it with light and void clashing with each other, a big old Big Bang, but after the Shadowlands and the addition of Chronicles Volume 4, we now have another option. We have the so-called First Ones. Their number varies according to perspective, but some believe there to be 6. Light, shadow, order, disorder, life and death. Some believed in a 7th, power, but its nature was unclear. These First Ones existed in constant conflict with one another, until opposition became balance, and battle became creation. A design was formed, a pattern was drawn, and each gave something of itself to this manifestation. These interactions birthed children of their kind, who existed similarly in both harmony and discord. Within this mythos, the denizens of the Shadowlands believed every sentient creature in the universe sprang from the original patterns fashioned by these first ones. The beliefs hold that these beings created the Titan Pantheon, the Old Gods, the Naru. They supposedly formed the realms of the living and also the dead, the Shadowlands, and its Pantheon, the Eternal Ones. This is all mythos and potentials, but the idea is that behind the cosmic forces that make up the Warcraft universe, there are the first ones, who gave up a piece of themselves to make a pattern, to create the universe, and although its nature is to fight, balance matters. One cannot dominate the others. The seventh nature is unclear. So, what if that prime world soul inside of Azeroth, what if that is the seventh point of power? What if all these mythos actually tell a similar tale? A single entity, a big bang, a design created which all originates from one single point, whatever might be inside of Azeroth. Maybe. But then I do wonder how that would work with her being a Titan as well. But we'll get to that point again in just a moment. And how come the Titans were searching specifically for this Prime World Soul? Why could this specific soul give them the power to turn the entire cosmos to their side, to the side of order? This sounds incredibly similar to what the Jailer tried to do.
Every event set in motion, every pawn put into play, all to claim the power slumbering within your world. The soul of Azeroth, wounded, vulnerable, yet teeming with potential. Potential that I will use to eradicate this flawed reality. Death claims the soul of your world.
Manipulated the story of Warcraft to then suck up Azeroth's soul and use it to rewrite the universe. It also sounds similar to what Xal'atath wants.
In darkness, she slumbers and dreams. And for countless generations, mortal heroes have risen to defend her. They faced monsters, tyrants, and beasts of primordial horror. Though they fought amongst themselves, their enmity following them to the most distant shores.
We will never be slaves!
And even across time and space. Their courage never faltered. Even upon the very threshold of death. While new hope blooms on the horizon, the final battle draws near. Now, in the darkness, at the very heart of the world, the drums of war thunder once again. And Azeroth at last awakens. The world's soul, so long denied me, shall be Mine.
In the background, for those unaware, the cosmic forces are always in a tug of war with one another. It is in their nature to compete and try to take over, but in the end, balance matters. If one would dominate all the others, then it would all fall to chaos. We need to keep these cosmic forces in balance, and yet it is in their nature to strive and compete and to try and take over.
This world soul, the most powerful in existence, they would guide to become the greatest titan of all.
Now again, you could see this as the Titans just lending a hand to let the soul become what it always was meant to be, but there's also the interpretation that the soul is guided into becoming a Titan, rather than it was always meant to be a Titan. So similar to how the Void Lords wanted to corrupt these slumbering spirits and turn them to their side, the Titans and the Domain of Order, they would also want to turn one of these souls and make them part of Team Order, turn them into a Titan. That could definitely be a thing, but I do wonder how we could then explain the events with Argus.
Now she lived a history that surpassed the existence of the universe. Blink. It was energy, spinning out into the cosmos. Blink. It found warmth near a sun, and a world formed around it to protect it as it grew. Blink. Generations of life lived and died upon it. Blink. It was betrayed. It was bound by something powerful. Blink. Pain. Pain. It hurt so much. Its only solace lay within its dream. Blink. They enslaved worlds. They burned worlds. They used its strength to revive their fallen souls. It hurt so much. Blink. They found another. It was much more powerful. They wanted to claim it too. Then they would be unstoppable. Blink. It screamed into the cosmos for help. 2 children answered the call. 2 bright lights. Blink. 2 bright lights from Azeroth. A world that was like Argus.
Argus has been defined as being a similar thing to Azeroth, another world soul. Yet Argus was chained by Sargeras and the Burning Legion. The planet so infused with fel, so corrupted that the demons would receive a permadeath. Its soul was then so pumped full of death magic that it didn't go to Titanland or wherever the Titan spirits are supposed to go when they die. Instead, Argus was shot over into the domain of death, and he caused a whole bunch of trouble. If his spirit was so infused by the domain of death, then how come there was still a Titan that popped out? Perhaps the idea is that the souls do always become Titans, but depending on what cosmic force gets their hands on it, that could then determine its alignments. So an Argus, that would be a Titan of death. Aman'thul seems to be a fully orderly Titan. Perhaps Ahn'Qiraj's world soul was once very much infused with life, hence why she is so drawn to Elune and she goes beyond the domain of order. Or very much maybe.
In time, they came to sense a mighty presence within the world called Azeroth. The Pantheon made their way to the nascent world soul, hoping that their search was at an end.
I know of Arcadis from my studies in Khaz'goroth, but this world soul he speaks of? Here on Azeroth? Do you think that's what Grandad Magni was hearing all those years when he was a speaker?
This made me a little bit confused, because, fair enough, Dugran or any of us wouldn't really know the difference between the Prime Soul and the World Soul or Azeroth itself. For all we know, there are multiple entities that are living within Azeroth. Perhaps there's a spirit inside of Beladar, perhaps there's also one below Ahn'Qiraj. Dugran openly wondering about this. It had me wonder if there could perhaps be multiple souls, because we also have the idea that the Radiant Song seems to be coming from multiple angles. Some, like Magni, definitely communicates like it did in the past, and it's definitely from Azeroth, right? But then we also have an Anduin, who hears a song or visions coming out of Beladar. And then there's the Haranir that mentioned a song connected to like roots and lifelands. Illyria that does not hear the Radiant Song, but rather hers come from the darkness, connected to the voids. There are a lot of voices calling out. Does that mean that there are a lot of spirits happening? While I recorded this, I decided to take some different angles from the globe. And when you look at it from a certain point, you can see a crystal inside of Azeroth. most likely it's just a graphical glitch, right? Because we can now see through the globe itself. Or are they trying to tell us something? Crystals, Beladar, Xal'atath crawling out of the wall, specifically where the crystal is on. Is there more to this? I'm probably reading far too much into this, but it is fun to consider, and I wonder when we're gonna see the next message, because we're like 2 resets further now, and there's not been a new disc quest, unfortunately, so fingers crossed. By all means, let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time, see ya!